Alright, and this time with all the inspiration, kaya natin 'to at, puwedeng mangarap. 'Yan yung mga keywords na maganda po nating tandaan sa pagnenegosyo. Especially itong, expo natin, virtual expo is officially open today. And now for our last segment of the day, two major organizations. Today they will be presenting to us valuable, information and know-hows, discussion also, and learnings about their businesses or about our businesses na gusto po nating umpisahan. Very, very honored tayo that this segment will be facilitated by the past president of the prestigious Philippine Marketing Association. Kasama po natin this afternoon si Miss Faith Abano. Ma'am Faith, good afternoon. Ayun, medyo ano lang, hindi lang natin marinig yung audio ni Miss Faith ano, na baka naka-mute si ma'am or baka may hindi lang naka-press sa kaniyang screen. Wala pa pong audio, ma'am? Okay. Okay, speaker kumbaga speaker, phones na lang, oh, instead of, headset. So hopefully it will, work. Oo, hindi naman yata siya naka-mute, eh, 'no? So 'yan, test natin, ma'am. Hopefully it will connect now. Ayan. Wala pa rin, ma'am, hindi pa rin namin marinig yung iyong audio, pero I'm sure you are hearing us. Oo. Yun lang siguro ano, at try natin i-disconnect ma'am yung ano na lang, yung wired headphones and let's see kung pwede siya sa speaker and the microphone of your laptop. So ito yung, not yet ma'am. Sige, we'll have to sign you out first and then you sign back in para maayos po natin yung audio, no? So log in na lang po ulit si ma'am. So once again for the viewers, for the followers of this streaming, ito yung live video na to. Nako, I hope marami kayong na-pick up na mga insights from our partners, and for those of you who want to resell your products and baka gusto nyo rin na mag-resell ng products ng iba. Baka kayo yung sabi nga nung mga nag-testimonial sa atin kanina, medyo low risk yung gusto ninyong pasukin na business. So, siguro reselling is the best form of enterprise for you. So, sabi nga nung mga nag-guest natin kanina from the PLDT team, low risk at medyo may avenue kayo for change if you want to adjust yung gusto ninyong i-market. Ayan na, I think I can hear you now, Miss
You
Faith.
can hear me now. Hi. Yes.
Thank you,
Yes,
thank
yes,
you.
this
Yes,
was
ma'am.
very
Good
good.
afternoon.
Yes. Hi, Jessica. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you so much for this opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. Bayanihan in spirit is really it's really something that we are very very proud of, and that it's very alive at this time. So thank you so much for all of you, to all of you. All right, as you know, we have been seeing these headlines. COVID-19 hits 70% of Philippine businesses hard, and the DTI says that 70% of small businesses are hurt by the pandemic. The DTI also says that about 90,000 small businesses have shut down due to the pandemic. Those are really, really bothering figures. They have plagued us, they have plagued the news outlets since the pandemic climaxed in the Philippines earlier this year. Since then, the number of SMEs closing continues to grow as the country collectively adjusts to the necessary precautions. Quarantine measures have eased, which allowed closed establishments to slowly return to operations. However, this only applies to establishments that are financially capable of oiling their rusted machines after months of inactivity. A larger number of businesses, small businesses, are incapable of doing such, as they have exhausted their resources in sustaining their workers despite halting function. A larger number of businesses need aid to gain a second chance. Aside from the pandemic, the Philippines became a magnet for natural disasters this 2020. Typhoons, floods, fires, and everything in between horrified the archipelago. This prompted a harsher business climate for those whose business acumen are already tested. Nevertheless, we need to ask ourselves, how do we move forward from here? Is there a way to win against this adversity? If you ask me and where I stand from, now is the time where the Bayanihan spirit will shine the brightest. I am your host, Mary Faith Abano, General Manager of Celestial Media Services Incorporated and the 2019 President of the Philippine Marketing Association. And this segment is called Little Big Boost, how large companies are helping small businesses rise again. A talk brought to you by the Philippine Star and the Philippine Marketing Association. We also would like to thank our sponsors, Shell Philippines and the Villar Sipag Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, all of you out there who are with us, whether you are operating a small business, a small medium enterprise, or whether you're with a larger business, this talk will definitely help you because it will make you proud, so much more proud of the fact that we as the private sector are helping each other out. This Bayanihan spirit is really, really alive. So let's get right into it. Let me introduce to you our panelists for today. They are esteemed individuals from companies who are providing avenues for SMEs to get back on track. Okay, our first guest is currently the Vice President and SME Segment Head of CX, or Customer Experience Group of Union Bank, effective November of 2020. So bagong kasalang. But prior to this role, he was already head of SME platforms under the SME Business Banking Group. He currently leads the group that drives Union Bank's various innovations on technological banking products, solutions, and services for the MSME market. He has so much to offer to this particular segment. With his career in Union Bank, he has become an expert in advising and solutioning for small and micro, as well as large enterprises in understanding, finding, and using digital banking solutions that is right for their business from a financial, operational, and technical solutions standpoint. Ladies and gentlemen, give a warm welcome to Mr. Jose Paulo JP Soliman.
Hi,
Hi,
hi
JP.
everyone. Such a very, very complete name.
Well, we have to make sure that we are calling you by the right name.
Yes, yes. Call me JP. That's the most common name for me.
All right, JP. I'll call you JP from now on.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Do we get your 5 minutes now or later? I just have to figure that out with our technical team. It's later pa, no?
I I believe it's
Okay,
later by
later.
yes.
All right, we'll do that later. All right. So this is an introduction of all of our speakers. Our next speaker is a graduate of the University of the Philippines at Los Baños with a degree in business, BS Agribusiness. Together with his wife, they started GIGA in the year 2000, as a single proprietorship micro enterprise manufacturing all natural soaps from their garage. That enterprise has since grown today. He is the president and CEO of GIGA Natural Product Specialist Corporation, a medium-sized corporation that manufactures a line of natural personal care products. They operate 16 retail outlets and have a complement of numerous resellers nationwide. GIGA's products are also distributed in various online e-commerce platforms, including Lazada, Shopee, and Zalora in the Philippines, Amazon in the USA, Alibaba in China, and TV shopping in Hong Kong. Their products are also available as amenities in several hotels, resorts, and spas. GIGA also exports their products regularly to Kuwait, Hong Kong, Singapore, and China. Giga was a recipient of the DTI Ginuntaang Yaman Award in 2009, the DTI SME Star Elite in 2011, and a finalist in the first ASEAN Business Awards in 2014. Our speaker was also recognized for outstanding achievement in entrepreneurship small scale in 2014 by the Agora Awards of the Philippine Marketing Association. While Giga has now grown from its humble beginnings as a micro enterprise to a medium sized enterprise, it continues to live up to its original philosophy, that is to embody ethical business practices and to act with integrity in all its endeavors, thus giving glory to God. GIGA is an acronym for God is Good Always. It is my honor to introduce to you Mr. Marcos Peping de Villa. Hi, Peping.
Hello, hi Faith. Good to see you, and I'm honored to
Great
be
to
here
see
too.
you. It's
Yeah,
wonderful. I'm sure you have a lot of things to tell us later on. You
yeah.
have a great story. You can tell us what happened with you in the pandemic.
Oh, yes, sure, sure,
You
definitely.
can tell us all about it later.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you. See you later. Okay, our third guest. Let's go to our third guest. Also another person where we can glean a lot of insights and lessons from. He is the consul of Monaco to the Philippines, a jack of all trades and a master of all. For SME entrepreneurship, he is an Agora awardee for excellence in entrepreneurship, small scale, and, an accredited Go Negosyo mentor for his work in Mercato Central, a food business incubator, where he recently won the 2019 SME Company of the Year at Asia CEO Awards and the 2019 SME Company of the Year Awards, the 2019 SME Excellence in Innovation Philippine winner at the ASEAN Business Awards, and the SME winner in Business Model Innovation in the 2020 First Mansmith Innovation Award. So we have a lot of things to learn about innovation from this guy. He is also the co-founder of EnterPH, a market entry consulting firm for foreign offshoring outsourcing businesses, and Easy Franchise, an online franchise marketplace that connects franchisors and franchisees. For solo entrepreneurship, he is a Hall of Famer and a three-time Best Male MC at the Aliyo Awards and a three-time National Book Awards finalist who has written six, six best-selling books. He currently hosts Bright Ideas on Bloomberg Philippines One News, a show that focuses on the local tech startup scene, and Philippine Realty TV on CNN Philippines. Please welcome Mr. RJ Ledesma.
So much.
RJ!
Yes, thank you so much, President Faith.
Hi.
It's truly an honor to be here and to talk to all of you right now. Nako, yung mga kasama ko dito ngayon, I am so honored to be and privileged to be beside them. I look forward to learning from them at the same time, and hopefully I get to share some great insights together with you. At lahat po, natutunan ko mula sa Philippine Marketing Association at pagiging isang Agora Awardee rin po. Sana maipahiwati ko, may share ko lang what we've learned, and hopefully the other people listening to us will be inspired by our entrepreneurial stories and also be able to emulate them and become great entrepreneurs in their own right. Maraming salamat po.
For sure, for sure. You, RJ, and Peping are both Agora winners for entrepreneurship, while our next guest is also an Agora winner for another category, and that is advocacy. And the company that JP represents, their executive actually won also for the Agora Award. So, this is really an excellent circle to be in. So you have a lot of learnings to get from here for sure. Okay, let's introduce our fourth speaker. Last but definitely not the least. He was appointed the Executive Director of Filipina Shell Foundation Incorporated in January 1, 2019. Before taking the role of Executive Director, he was trustee of the Filipinas Shell Foundation. He is currently the chairman of the Mindoro Diversity and Conservation Foundation Incorporated. He is also a member of the Management Association of the Philippines, where he was chairman and now vice chairman of the Energy Committee. He was appointed as member of the Technical Advisory Panel of the UPERDFI for an energy model simulation study. Outside of corporate roles, he has various roles in the Union Church of Manila, where he serves as usher, liturgist, small discipleship group leader, and a member of finance and stewardship committees. He served twice as moderator or chairman of the Council of Elders of Union Church of Manila. He's also an executive coach with Management Strategies Incorporated. It is my honor to introduce to all of you Mr. Sebastian Baste Quinones Jr. Hi, Baste.
Hello, good afternoon to all. Yeah,
Hi.
and such an I'm overwhelmed with the other participants, so I'm just here as one of the small members here. But I hope to give you a little bit more of inputs what Filipina Shell Foundation is doing for MSMEs.
Definitely not small, Basta. Definitely not small because all of the things, all of the efforts that you have done with the foundation have so much impact, and that is what we would like to hear from you about today.
Sure.
Okay, so I know that our guests have their own 5 minute inputs before we start, so maybe we can do that. Let's start with JP. JP from Union Bank.
Hello. Am I on? Hi. So yeah, I do have something for everyone. A quick 5 minute thing. I hope we can plug it on the screen now. I do have a presentation for everyone, just to talk about really what as a large corporate, what are the things that we can do for the MSME market, right? Now, basically, well, people have been hearing this. Union Bank has been trying to transform really and getting more digital to the core of what we do. And of course, that is not just about us being a bank, having all this technology within the bank, but at the point, things that we try to do that has to be beneficial to our customers as well. So if we talk about MSMEs, it's really how do we maximize digital? How do we maximize technology for the MSME market? And basically, as what Ms. Faith mentioned earlier, that's actually part of my job now, where recently I've been named as the SME segment head under the customer experience group. Now, what are the key challenges that we saw? Basically, these were enhanced during the pandemic, but even prior to that, there are three things that a business owner really needs and really needs help, a lot of help about. No, it's number one is the lack of access. People are saying when you think about banking, lack of access, people think it's all about pera or access to credit or access to financing. But honestly, even a lot of the business owners we have right now in the country are those who are called unbanked. So hindi lang po ang unbanked ay yung mga individuals na nasa malayong lugar o nasa very rural places. Even businesses are sometimes considered unbanked. Lack of access to those formal lenders, to those formal institutions that could help bring them to the formal financial landscape. Another challenge that the SMEs are having is what we call the invisible data. Ito po yung point where alam nyo naman as a business owner, you know the capabilities of your business, you know very much deep down in your heart ano yung trend ng sales nyo and all those. Pero iniisip nyo, bakit hindi siya nakikita ng mga bangko? Bakit hindi siya nakikita ng mga creditors ko? Those are things that we call the invisible data. This stems out because of the third challenge, the traditional mindset. Having a traditional mindset, if you go to no naming of banks, but if you go to a very traditional bank, they will ask you for collateral, they will ask you for so many things that does not fully reflect what is the real capabilities of your business. And that's one challenge, one very big challenge kung bakit nagkakaroon ng lack of access, again, because of invisible data. And these things we try to solve for you. How? What we do is we connect you as a business owner in the whole ecosystem or that whole picture. So we are all like small puzzle pieces. And how do we do that? Number one, we connect networks together. Large corporates could be a principal organization that would allow us to see better, to see further, see clearly, and get access to you as a business owner. Technology and know-how. We've been doing technology since 1990s, right? And all this technology know-how na nakuha namin and this technology that we're implementing, hindi namin pwede solohin lang. Kailangan ma-provide po namin sila sa mga business owners. Same time, access to our own resources. Why not? This is something that we're also very much into right now, especially for startups, some of the startups in the tech space. we share with them the resources, we share with them our own developers para matulungan sila umakyat na umakyat sa kanilang next level. And then, of course, maximizing digital ecosystems. We have created platforms and systems where we do all the supply chain, digitization of supply chain, logistics, and so on. And again, definitely, access to the connectivity and mobility. Ang Union Bank po ngayon, if some of you might have seen our commercials, we don't anymore say bank online or bank mobile, but what we say is bank from home, bank where you can't. That's the type of connectivity and mobility we want to bring out there to you as a business owner. One key example would be, for example, Global Linker. Global Linker initially was a platform that we created primarily sana for social networking of business owners, but it has evolved so much. Understanding what the business owner needs at this point in time allowed us to pivot more to e-commerce enablement, allowed us to pivot even to digital supply chain. Imagine the world where you as a small business, if you're supplying, for example, supplying raw materials to Filipina Shell or another large corporate, and you do all your transactions in one single platform. By doing so, payments and fulfillment are integrated. We can immediately see the transaction, then we can immediately extend financial support to you as a business owner. And that's one way how also other large corporates in our ecosystem are able to help the business owners, the smaller ones. The smaller businesses can ride on the credit of the larger corporates. Here's one example as well. Sabi nila, ang online or ang digital para lang yan sa mga medyo may mataas na sa technology IQ and all those. You know what? Our platform, this was built under Global Linker. Our platform can even digitize even grocery stores or sari-sari store owners. Allows the small businesses to access a wider market. And kompleto siya. Remember earlier I mentioned technology and resources sharing? We have built-in inventory management, order management systems all under one platform, and is accessed for free at no cost to the business owner. That alone is a very big leverage for the business owner para maka-graduate sila to the next level. And I mentioned earlier, how about bringing everyone to that formal financial platform? We have introduced things like I2I, where even a provincial or a rural pawn shop or a rural grocery store can start extending different banking services to their customers. They can get a mobile ATM machine that people can start withdrawing money from them, depositing money to them, paying bills through them, giving them extra income, additional services that they can provide to their community. Remember, the SME, the micro business owner, their importance in our whole ecosystem is that they are serving a larger community within, right beside them, right? So yun po yung pinaka-critical. That's why we really need to support and help the SME market. Now, like I mentioned earlier, we keep on building and building and building. And more of these technology and platforms, we are extending to our customers at no cost. Remember, at no cost. From marketplaces to e-commerce platforms to even payment gateways, to even supply chain mechanisms, and all of these at no cost, because that's how we really need to pivot into para mas mapalaki natin yung mga MSME customers natin. And in fact, like the platform I mentioned earlier, Union Bank Global Linker, we don't even discriminate if you are not a Union Bank account holder. You will be able to manage it. You will be able to use the platform and maximize whatever is inside. So I'm sure there's a lot more that the other speakers would love to share, but this is at a glimpse what Union Bank can do as a large corp, as a big brother to the micro business owners. Thank you so much, po.
Those are a lot of services, JP. Maybe later you could also tell us how the uptake, what traction it has gotten from this particular sector, the MSMEs, no? And maybe you could compare before and after the pandemic.
I would.
All right. So thank you, JP. So for our next speaker, and to tell us what they have to offer, we have who else? Who's next? So do you have RJ as next, or is it Peping first?
I think si Peping po muna. Si Peping muna. Peping na lang muna. It's okay.
All right. So, sige, Sir Piping, if you're ready, let us know how your business is doing. I've already introduced your business earlier, but tell us
Yes,
right
yes.
now, how are you doing?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, thank you, Faith. Well, as Faith mentioned, we are in the personal care, natural personal care retailing business. So I operate a lot of retail outlets. No? Prior to the pandemic, we were really poised for growth because aside from the retail outlets, we were already embarking on our export program. Actually in March, we were supposed to go to the U.S. together with the DTI on a roadshow to present natural and organic products in Mexico and in the U.S. But suddenly the pandemic somehow dropped a bomb on us, and that didn't push through. And a lot of the things that we were planning, which we were poising our company for growth with, didn't really happen. No? So the pandemic affected, I would say, about 70% of our business because we are mainly in retail. And the sales I would say about accounted to only about 30 to 50% of what we were doing in 2019. So this is really difficult. The good thing about this is that we were not leveraged at all. We didn't have debts. We financed our operations based on our retained earnings. So we were quite healthy finance-wise. But then again, the pandemic does a lot of things to your company. So we really had to do certain things to adjust. No? And primarily, one of the things that we did was we adapted. We adapted to the marketing of our products from retailing to online. No? Online and even our export market, instead of going to them, we have just we just got in touch with them through Zoom or through their preferred platform, and so everything really changed, and so it's a matter of adapting. So we were able to adapt to the market of how we will be able to market our products. And also another thing that we did is we began to innovate. This pandemic also created a new type of marketing. So innovation in terms of the product. When we talk, I talk of adapting. We adapted to the marketing, but in terms of the product itself, our product offerings, we started to innovate. We started to think about how the products can become more relevant at this time. So I give you an example. For example, we have this personal hand sanitizer. It's in 50 ml. During the pandemic, we decided to put it in this type of packaging. So because everybody needed to bring their hand sanitizers along with them, and so they can spray once they hold on to something when they're outside, they can spray this immediately. So that's part of the innovation that we're doing. And now I'm thinking maybe we can do it this way. It's going to be smaller and it's going to fit in your pocket, so it's even more convenient. So all of these things, they come into play, especially during this pandemic. One thing good about this pandemic is that it brings out the creativity in you, in how you will be able to present your products, present your company, and weather this storm. But I'm sure, as I always say in all my emails, when I email to clients, to buyers, to customers, to suppliers, I end it with, "This too shall pass." It gives us some kind of hope because really this is what we need nowadays. I guess that's all. I'll give time for the others to speak and talk to you later more about our company.
Thing to close with, no, this too shall pass, which is actually true. But then it shall pass and it shall pass with us magkakasama, di ba? Magkakasama tayo
Yes,
lahat, di ba?
yes.
It's a good thing, maganda, it's a great thing na when you started, as you said, you were not leveraged. So it's not a great it's not a great thing on your back, except that you're not like the others. There's so many other businesses who are in that predicament, who are leveraged, diba? Who are debt. So yun yung nangangailangan din ng tulong. So yan, sige, maraming salamat. Thank you very much for inspiring us. You've changed your marketing, you've changed your product, your packaging, but your product remains the same, diba?
Yes.
I actually love your product. So I use your
Thank you.
massage oil. So,
Yes, thank you,
so
Faith.
yon, no? Yan, masarap po siya sa katawan, malamig. So, yon. So, yes, so thank you so much, Pepin. Maraming salamat. Thank you for all of
Yes.
that.
Thank you too. Thank
Ito,
you.
with our next guest, we will also hear about how he innovated his entire model. No, I hope I'm not getting ahead of you, RJ, but I am so excited to hear from you. From the time that I met you, when you were an awardee, you have changed and you have pivoted, and I'd like to hear that from you. RJ, please.
Thank you so much for inviting me here, Faith, and of course, mga kaibigan ko sa Philippine Star, and of course, the Philippine Marketing Association, together with Go Negosyo. Actually, I want to share the screen together with Faith because I want to make this more of a discussion, no? As I bring up my presentation. Is that okay, Dindy and PA? If I can share my screen, I want to be on screen with our host, and I will be sharing also be sharing my screen at the same time, just so that we can. There you go. Now, I also know that right now in backstage, no, we have President George there on the backstage. So this is the reason I want to share my presentation, because it's what I want people really to invest in right now is what I call investing in the entrepreneurial mindset, or how we think. Because at this particular time, diba, I was listening to our resellers, I was listening to how people pivoted the business. But I think what's really key for a lot of people is to remember again, Faith, of how it's like to be able to think like an entrepreneur. And I'm sure all of us during this crisis, we're all wondering, what am I going to do with my business? How do I change my business? What do I do to fix up my business during this time? Now, the common denominator among many entrepreneurs, our friends from GIGA, Mercato, Tokyo Tempura of President George Winnicki of Tokyo Tempura, Faith, like yourself, is that you have an entrepreneurial mindset, which means that if you have an entrepreneurial mindset, you are drawn towards business opportunities, creating new value, new value creation, new products, new services. What that means is that it doesn't really matter if it's a good time or a bad time for you. That's just a value judgment. Para sa entrepreneur, there's no such thing as good time, bad time. What the entrepreneur sees is that there is a business opportunity which he can create from the situation. So, for example, I often describe Faith being an entrepreneur like wearing a pair of glasses. I call this the entrepreneurial lens. Let's say, Faith, we entered into this crisis without wearing our entrepreneurial lens. If that happened, of course, we will be scared because of social distancing, and we will be scared because of GCQ and quarantine, because it's something that's scary. But if I were to wear my entrepreneurial lens, what do I start seeing? I start seeing the world in a different way. If I wear my entrepreneurial lens and I start looking at the problem of social distancing, I will tell myself, what are the opportunities that can be created as a result of social distancing? What are the business opportunities there? The same way that if there is GCQ happening, I don't just see a GCQ happening. I look at it with my entrepreneurial lens and I tell myself, what opportunities can I create because of the result of this of GCQ? And that's really the entrepreneurial mind starts moving forward. And this is the
very
reason.
nice.
And what I want people to realize about the entrepreneurial mindset, just like George, no, I know George is listening here right now. We are serial entrepreneurs. Anong ibig sabihin ng isang serial entrepreneur? SERAL. SERIAL. You're somebody who goes into a lot of different businesses. Bakit? Because whenever you enter a new business, being an entrepreneur is like exercising a muscle. And every time you exercise that muscle, you get stronger and stronger. But every time you also exercise your muscle, di ba, napupunit yung muscle mo and it knits back together to become stronger. That's what it's like to be an entrepreneur. You exercise your entrepreneurial muscle to become more resourceful and more adaptable, especially in the face of failure. Because alam mo, dapat tanggapin mo bilang isang entrepreneur, you will fail. Definitely you will fail. But it is in your failure that you learn how to become a better entrepreneur. Tingnan po natin yung mga entrepreneur natin na nasa office, Association of Filipino Franchisers. Di ba? Lahat sila, technically, because of this crisis, they failed because they weren't able to accept what was happening to them right now. But then many of them pivoted from becoming physical franchise stores. They became e-franchise stores. Yung Tokyo Tempura, ano ginawa nila? They started affiliating with other companies, with other small outlets to start putting up mini Tokyo Tempura outlets by partnering with people. They became resourceful and adaptable. That's what it's like to be an entrepreneur. And one of the last things I just want to leave with people is this idea, no? If you're going to put up a business, especially during this time, how can you make sure that the business that you put up is something that is sustainable and long-term, meaning that it won't just last during this crisis, it will last even beyond this crisis and perhaps grow bigger. Maybe when you ask yourself, what business should I put up, that might not be the correct question that you want to ask yourself. Because when you ask yourself, what business should I put up, ang ibig sabihin yan, tumitingin ka sa negosyo ng ibang tao. Anong magandang negosyong gayahin? The more important question you should ask yourself is this one. If you want to put up a business, you ask yourself this question: what problem is my business trying to solve? That's the more important question to ask yourself. What problem is my business trying to solve? Because my basic philosophy when it comes to entrepreneurship is this one. Entrepreneurship is all about solving irritations. If you, Faith, are irritated by something, and I am also irritated by something, if I can solve our common irritation, dyan ako kikita ng pera. That's where the business comes in, di ba? So,
Yes.
you want to turn those irritations into business opportunities. Kagaya ng Mercato. When I put up my business, Mercato Central, originally, what irritation was I trying to solve? Di ba? I was trying to solve the irritation of traffic. And people wonder, traffic, how does Mercato solve the irritation of traffic? I tell people...
Was it traffic? I thought it was food.
But look this way, what's the pain point people have? What's the pain point of people if I'm located in BGC? If I'm located in BGC, okay, what is the worst time to leave the city? What's the worst time, Faith?
After work.
After work. Okay, worst time.
5,
What time do you think I have the most
7
number of
o'clock.
people eating in my market?
Yes. I'm one of them.
After work. Hindi po ba? So, I'm trying to solve somebody's irritation. Ayaw nila pumasok sa traffic. Therefore, I said, why don't you eat in my place muna? I turned their irritation into my business opportunity. Now,
I actually go to the Glorieta branch.
yes,
At
exactly.
7 o'clock. At 7 o'clock. Andun ako.
Exactly. And the thing lang right now is, in business, I often tell people right now, we cannot be complacent when it comes to business because disruption is the new normal when it comes to business. There are a lot of what we call disruptive innovations that are occurring. Diba? Kagaya ng Grab was disrupting the taxi industry. The Airbnb was disrupting from technology. But during this time, we are being disrupted by the pandemic. But it doesn't matter if you are being disrupted by technology or you are being disrupted by the pandemic, you still have the same entrepreneurial mindset. You can still think like an entrepreneur. And your job as an entrepreneur is to solve people's irritations and problems. In fact, the Chinese have a word for it, Wei Ji. In crisis, there is opportunity. Diba? And for example, during this crisis, in 2008, in the US economic recession, look at these companies. These companies emerged from crisis, like Uber and Airbnb. Because Airbnb was trying to solve the problem. People couldn't spend money going to hotel. So nag-Airbnb sila. They couldn't spend money on a taxi. Nag-Uber na lang sila. Our job is to be able to solve problems, even during this pandemic, especially now. There might be some great problems which you can solve here right now that can make your company bigger and bigger and bigger. For example, now, Angkas, how do we innovate? Angkas innovated. They could not become a motorcycle taxi business during this time. So, naging food service muna sila. And then finally, now, makakabalik na sila ulit to becoming a motorcycle taxi service. Kami sa Mercato, we realized my job was as an incubator of food concepts, mga small food vendors. We could not do it physically because we were a place of mass gathering, but because we were an incubator, we could also do that online, di ba? We created an online delivery platform for all of our small food vendors. And now eventually, ano pang isang innovation na ginawa namin? We are the first business to be able to create a safe, socially distant, outdoor food market which follows IATF protocols. We opened up in BGC, and today, we just opened up in SM by the Bay sa Fountain area, another new market where we continue to help incubate small food vendors, pati mga restaurants. Because again, you're going back to solving a pain point. People want to go out again, they want to eat out, but they need to be safe. So I try to address that by creating an outdoor market that followed correct protocols. So again, just remember that one. If you are an entrepreneur, your job is to think of how do you solve people's problems. And if you solve a really deep problem and you can make sure it's something sustainable and long-term, then that's the way to go. And
What's very, very interesting, RJ, is that, well, do you consider yourself as a small or medium enterprise? You're definitely not a large enterprise, no?
No.
For sure, not large, no?
Yeah, no, my job is to be an incubator of enterprises.
Right, exactly.
And that's how I see myself.
Exactly. So it's like you helping other people, even if you're not a big brother, you're a small brother or a medium brother, helping your other entrepreneurs so that they can grow themselves. And that's a wonderful shift in mindset.
Yes,
diba?
exactly. Thank you so much. And of course, I would love to share more later on during our panel discussion. Thank you so much, Faith.
Yes. All right. Thank you, RJ. All right. Now it's time to go and meet our other speaker, Mr. Bastet, who is from Shell Foundation Incorporated. They have so much. They've done so much for different enterprises in the country. I'd like to hear from Mr. Bastet right now.
Okay. Thank you, Faith. And I'm putting up my slide pack now. All right. Okay. All right. I think, could I ask the team to do it for me? Because apparently there's an issue with my slide pack. Okay. So next slide, please. So we'll go 2 slides down. Right. So that's one. Stop here. So Filipina Shell Foundation first. I'd like to give a little bit of a background on how Filipina Shell Foundation was founded. We're already here for 38 years. And Filipina Shell Foundation is an intersection of 3 things. One is the poverty that our chairman saw at that particular time. This was in 1982. And the specific communities where the needs were really needed and the intent of Shell to help. So out of that came PSFI, the intersection of these 3 Venn diagrams. Okay, go to the next slide, please. And if we look at it, this is what we call our strategy house. And these are all the areas that we are working in. As you can see, we're in 6 sustainable development goals, but I will be just focusing on the livelihood one, SDG number 8. So if you can click to the next slide. So here, SDG number 8 really looks at livelihood and where we can help. Filipina Shell Foundation initially started a lot with the farmers. And this is where our flagship programs were in the early 80s. We also then went to what we called the people that were having issues in going to school. So we had also a program called Skill, which is basically teaching them vocational type of skills as they go forward. Now, we're making sure that we provide expertise. So this is something that we need to do. We provide expertise, the opportunity for people to be able to learn, and of course, a bit of capital, if when needed, for them to continue on. You go to the next slide, please. So here, one way of where we are providing a combination of expertise and capital is what we call Shell Livewire. So this is an enterprise program that we've developed. And here we're really trying to strengthen the local communities in entrepreneurship, innovation, and because of the fact that they're in their local areas, meaningful employment. RJ was a host yesterday when we had our Livewire kickoff, where we were able to conclude our first Livewire pitch, because one of the aspects of Livewire is that we provide grants to MSMEs. And in fact, yesterday we provided a 500,000 peso grant to an MSME who had a lot of promise going forward. And we also provided grants to 3 social enterprises of 75,000, where they themselves have very specific activities that they are doing. If you go to the next slide. Here's an example of 2 of them. So Sibap Multipurpose Cooperative is a cooperative that's in a location near our refinery in Batangas. And the Sibap ladies here, as you can see, are producing PPE. So those are safety shirts and the like there. And those are something that the business really needs. They provide uniforms, they provide masks. Now, because again, the COVID part, we had to pivot to something that was the need, and masks and other PPEs were the then. We also help in Project Coconut. You can see there that those are coconut, the book itself that we are now trying to develop things into, like lamps and the like. Jewelry also, where we've tied up with the fashions areas where they actually buy the coconut jewelry. So these are examples of enterprises where at the grassroots we're able to help the cooperatives and the communities themselves to have a product which is needed by specific markets. And because of that, then they can grow. If you go to the next slide, we also in Palawan, where we have a major upstream operation, look at ways of ensuring that we combine the environmental aspects with activities of the people there. So in this particular case, it's like an entrepreneurship where you can also commune with nature and at the same time bring in tourists and you earn from it. So Tandikan is really a way of combining all of these together with the community so that they can then get an adequate return for their effort. And if you go to the next one, next slide, we also combine high technology. So we have already in the various areas in Palawan, as you can see, the communities that we've already lit up. So in those particular areas, we provide 24/7 electricity. We provide the means for them to now then put up businesses which require electricity. As you can see, the young girl there with ice cream, something that they never ever had before because of the fact that there wasn't any way to bring ice cream to their community. So we've been able to do that and ensure that that those particular areas have the energy that's needed to go forward. We call it the enabling power of energy. If you go to the next slide, we have a number of training farms. One is in Bombon, Camarines Sur, Pililla, Rizal, and in El Nido, Palawan. And our goal here is to provide a center of excellence for the farmer communities around those areas. So what we do is that we've tied up with groups like CIRCA, that provide technical expertise on being able to provide what is really best for your particular area. Because the farmers have, obviously, the farms in the Philippines, the land in the Philippines are all different. They have different ways of producing. They can produce different types of crops because of the nature of the farms. So what we try to do on those areas is to really develop ways and means to be able to bring what is needed by the market from the farmers. And then we also develop a seed to markets type of technology where we try to see where we can get them the biggest possible margin. Our problem with our farmers now is that the middlemen are the ones that are benefiting from them. So what we are trying to do is improve their commercial skills by being able to show to them what really is cost of goods, what really should be their margin that they could give to the market, what are the market prices, so that they can see how they can plan their farm gate prices. And then we develop also the means, the logistical means to bridge the gaps. So that's what we're doing for our training farms. If you go to the next slide. And this is just an example of what happened in the COVID crisis. At the early part of the COVID, our farmers that we had taught had, when we went back to them in terms of an engagement to see how they were doing, we found out that their produce was rotting in the fields. So what we did then was to try to figure out how we could get their produce to the frontliners. And Ani para sa Bayani was a great example. So what we did was that we got into the areas kung saan may bagsakan ng mga farmers in their areas. And then after that, we figured out the logistics to go to kitchens that were then able to convert the produce into meals. And then those meals are brought to the frontliners, to the hospitals, and to those various areas. We translated it also a little bit by, the produce coming from, for example, Benguet. We were able to bring to communities that were really required, that really needed their help, like in Payatas and the like. So we were able to do that. And we were able to do this nationwide. So we were able to do things like this in Palawan. We did it in Bukidnon. We did it in Cagayan de Oro area and also in Cebu area, where we leveraged on the fact that Shell was there, and we were then able to utilize the Shell network to be able to assist the farmers around. And finally, on the last slide, this is an example of what our impact is. This, though, is not just an impact for last year. This is an impact over the 38 years plus time that we have been here. And it just goes to show that whenever you try to combine the technical expertise that is available with the capability of transferring that expertise via the farms, via the cooperatives or the like, or even ourselves via us putting in investment to the community that really requires it, they're able to translate all of that help into a way of being able to produce something that the market really needs, and for them, therefore, to gain value from it. So that's just a nutshell of the example that Filipina Shell Foundation is doing. And yeah, we're open to questions on how further we can help the MSMEs. Thank you very much, Faith.
All right, maraming salamat, Baste. That's a lot of effort from the foundation. Well, you've been here for 38 years. So ang dami-dami nyo na natulungan. And a lot of your efforts for development are concentrated on the countryside, no? Kasi
Yes, we are.
doon marami talaga kailangan ng tulong for our MSMEs, no? Actually, more micro than the
Yes.
small or the medium, no? Totoo ba yan?
Correct.
Yeah.
And by the way,
Well,
that's just one of the 6 SDGs. So we do also quite a lot on the other 5.
I know, but then even all of the other efforts that you have still impact the small and medium enterprises, the micro, small and medium enterprises that we have, no? Tama ba?
Mhm. That is
All of
correct.
them. Okay. All right. So I have a question for our panelists. I'd like to address this to both JP and Basta, given that you have a bigger, view of from where you are, no? Given that our economy actually has like 99% or more than 99% of our economy is composed of the micro, small, medium enterprises, and all of your services and all of these help that you have are targeted towards them. How has the traction been before COVID and after COVID? How do you see them taking advantage of all of the services that you have? Maybe we could start with JP.
Yeah. So how has the traction been? Pandemic time, we saw, if I'm going to put numbers, we saw around 400% growth in different platforms that we are running.
Pandemic time, okay.
Yeah, I'll give an example. We run two different platforms for e-commerce enablement for MSMEs. So we provide them free access to web builders. We provide them free hosting, trainings, knowledge, and things like that. Last year, 2019, we are seeing roughly around 200 to 400 MSMEs onboarding to that particular service, right? This pandemic time, we already saw 2,000. The year is not yet over. And that was a number that I was able to gather back in September. So it's a lot more now. So in terms of, I guess RJ also had a very good point, Karina, in terms of having that entrepreneurial mindset and people starting to really shift their businesses. We're seeing shifts not just in terms of the business type or marketing strategy, but we're also seeing shift in terms of full business models. People already starting new enterprises, totally different to what they used to have, but now more relevant to the target market and through the
Can I just add?
that we have. Yeah.
Can I just add to JP
Yes,
about people changing the platform? Kasi maganda yung punto ni JP dyan about changing the model of the business. Especially kay si Sir Marco sa Giga, no? Yung sometimes what you have to take a look at is the idea that what is the essence of your business, di ba? And that's what you kind of pivot on. Meaning, for example, I am an incubator. My main business is incubation. So you say that, okay, if you're an incubator, it means that if you know that's your business, you can change your business model. Kasi noon yung business model ko, syempre subleasing, rental ng mga spaces for food vendor. Eh nung nawala yung vendor ko, sabi ko, saan ako kikita ng pera ngayon? If I'm an incubator, then what if I become the one-stop shop online platform for small food vendors? So iba ngayon yung aking business model. I may kita maybe from commissions or arbitrage, di ba? By putting people into one platform but I am still an incubator. So that's what people must think of right now. You don't have to totally change your business, but you change the way you do business. Just like in Giga, diba? They moved from retail to online. But the essence of the business did not change. It's still about health. In fact, naka-innovate din sila ng hand sanitizer nila, di ba? Because they realize that's the essence of the business. Then you change the business model around it. Sorry, JP, back to you.
That is true. With Giga, it's really, they knew what they were. They knew what they wanted to offer to the market. And that's really just a matter of form and function, not the function. Anyway, go ahead, JP. Please let us know. So you were talking about a change in business model.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. And also, if you notice any form of business model that's kind of more dominant right now.
Well, a lot of businesses that we're seeing are pivoting towards more on the fulfillment side of things, especially in the retail. Yeah. One very, very nice story was the start of the pandemic. There's this one micro business owner who was connected to a large telco. So their job was actually to ferry yung mga tauhan ng telco to the different sites, right? That the telco has, the cell sites and all those, and the contractors, etc. So during the pandemic, their town was really hard hit, and he had to pivot his business, totally business model. But again, going back to what RJ mentioned, he had a resource and he had a specialization, and that's his assets, yung mga vans niya and all those things. You know where he pivoted? He pivoted by, instead of ferrying people, he started ferrying products of those SMEs around his town all the way to the toll gate kung saan pipick upin ng mga delivery channels. That's a very good business model, people. Those things are what we see now. Yes. We saw people who were doing, initially their houses or their garages were set up as a manufacturing plant for plastic products. Pivot siya. Sabi niya, ngayon ang tao gusto bumili sabon. So they made soaps using the molds that they had for their plastic products. So medyo may, ano pa, di ba, may magandang twist pa yung kanya mga products. Those are the very, very interesting and very nice business models that we've seen, pivots that they have.
Are you still looking at servicing more, and how much more can you serve? No, given that you have all of these platforms, na baka isipin ng ating mga nanonood dito, okay, I wanna take advantage of your services sa Union Bank, pero ay ang dami na, marami na nga ba talaga o konti pa lang yun?
Well, one of our platforms, the Global Linker platform, now has 50,000 SMEs, and then our central platform has around, I believe, 20 to 25. And another platform, which is the Box platform, has 80,000. You know, the sky's the limit. Kung pwede namin servicean lahat kayo, we will do it. No problem. We're ready for
ayan. Our big brother in Union Bank can definitely do that for you. So kung ano pa, ayan na. Go na. Sige, sabi ko kay Mr. Baste, no? So we saw all of these things that you've been doing, no, in the foundation. Was there a change in terms of how you did things? I know that you have that grant that you're doing, but other than that grant, those are all of the other things and activities that you do in the foundation. Has there been any change? Has there been any traction with the other activities?
Well, as I mentioned about the food part na lang muna, kasi that's where where we have a good part of MSMEs. So before, remember, we were getting the produce and then bringing it to the kitchens, and then the kitchens to the hospitals and the frontliners. We then learned that, hey, wait a second, why can't we make that into the business model? Why can't we have the farmers have a logistics provider to then sell to the market? And then we were able to tie up with an online group, Mayani.ph, where now there's a section there where you can buy, if you go online, you can buy produce from farmers of Pilipinas Shell Foundation beneficiaries, and they will deliver directly to your home. Yung mga gulay.
With Mayani. Okay.
Yes, Mayani. We also were also able to get the produce. We found also a way to get their produce to go to our retail stations. So that from our retail stations, then the drivers and everybody else can then pick them up. So remember, we're really trying to target remember the Venn diagram. Poor, community, we're Shell. Yeah. So we're really trying to help the poorest of our poor, the farmers in this particular case, to be able to have their produce coming to market. And that was a learning that we found that we could do because of the pandemic.
how did you reach out? How did you reach out to these affected enterprises, whether micro or small,
Well,
for you
we've
to be able to show them and help them out?
Well, we've been, again, as I mentioned, we've been helping the communities for over 38 years already.
Okay.
The farmer
All right.
communities that we
So
have
then,
around our areas are our friends and the like there. We try to figure out how are you. There's always continuous coaching. We try to figure out how to help in terms of their cropping and other like there. And these are already in quite a number of areas in the Philippines, all the way from Benguet, Sumila Bukidnon, Kamsur, Pililla, Palawan. So all of those
kung meron,
those
kung
areas.
meron pa pong gusto, I'm sure marami po dyan, di ba? Marami pa po na mga farmers and small enterprises na gustong sumama sa network ninyo. If it's still possible.
Yes, we're actually doing that with the Office of the Vice President, with Angat Buhay campaign. So here, the particular barangays where OVP is requesting assistance, so we inject what we call integrated farming biosystems technology, like I said, seed to market. So we try to really help those communities around them to develop what is needed by the market for them to produce, then which will then get traction for them to sell so that they actually get the margin. A lot of times kasi you produce something, wala naman palang merkado. Yeah? So sayang lang. So what you really need to do is match everything all together, and that's where we have expertise coming in.
Okay. Ayan. So, kung ikaw ay isang negosyante, maliit man, or nagsisimula pa lang, no? So, meron tayong dalawang isang finance institution na pwedeng makatulong at sky's the limit daw ang gusto nilang tulungan, di ba? Sky's the limit, mga kapatid, let's go! Diba? And of course, we have the Shell Foundation na kung saan ang network nila in the countryside is so deep and ingrained na pwede pa kung hindi nyo pa sila nakakausap, feeling ko imposible, hindi nyo pa nakakausap, diba? Pero kung meron pa, diba, andyan sila para sa inyo at talagang tumutulong pa. Okay, para naman kay RJ and to Pepin. RJ, I know you're a Go Negosyo mentor as well, no? And tuloy-tuloy ang mentorship even during this pandemic, right? Tuloy-tuloy siya. Pero ka ba nakikita mo na ano ba ang direction nakita mo na pag-shift ng mindset ng mga ating entrepreneurs ngayon, ang mga na may mentor mo or mga nakukwento sa inyo mga co-mentors natin?
I think importante muna sa lahat kasi yung silver lining ng pandemya is that many people wanted to they were forced to become entrepreneurs out of desperation, out of cabin fever. Lahat nagiging entrepreneur, di ba? Di ba lahat na nakaranas na kumain ng ube cheese pandesal, hindi po Sir Peping, di ba? Sir JP, Sir Baste, di ba?
Totoo yan.
Sushi bake, di ba?
Lahat
sushi bake na.
Ibang cookies na.
Masarap, di ba? Yung problema lang, lahat gumagawa. So, di ba, or may tinatawag ako dito, I'm sure si Sir Baste or Sir JP know this one, yung mga naging entrepreneur pero short-term yung mindset nila. Magbebenta ng N95 masks, surgical gloves, lahat yan. Kasi, syempre, parang buy and sell, trader ka, there's nothing wrong with that one. But kung talagang gusto mo maging entrepreneur na yung negosyo mo ay hindi ng pansamantala, kundi mas pangmatagalan, you want to be as longer than from this crisis, then again, you have to go back to, number one, what problem is your business trying to solve? But more importantly, how can you uniquely solve that problem? Dapat there's something in your skill set, yung tinatawag ko secret sauce. Meron ka bang access to products, sa services, sa unique network na ikaw lang may access. So, pwede mong iangat yung produkto mo. Dapat level up ka. Kung pare-pareho lang yung ube cheese pandesal mo, bakit ako bibili sa inyo? Kung pare-pareho lang yung sushi bake mo, bakit ako bibili sa inyo? So, yung payo ko lang sa mga maging entrepreneur ngayon, kung talaga may puso ka entrepreneur, you've got a passion to become an entrepreneur, what value added are you putting into the product? Just recently, kami ni Sir Baste, ang ganda ng yung nanalo po sa aming live wire competition. Gusto ko lang ikwento to sa inyo. Bakit maganda? Kasi he was solving two problems. Sabi niya, number one is, anong pain point niya? He wants to make yung nanotronics by Dr. Jerome Palaganas. They wanted to turn, they said, there is so much indigenous plants over here, and you can turn that into raw material para sa, sir, sa microchip ba? Into raw material for microchips. So sabi niya, it's solving two problems, di ba? Number one, before people were getting material from forests, sabi, wag na forests. Gagawa tayo na lang mula sa plants na which abound too many plants, and we turned it into microchips, di ba? They were solving a pain point that is unique, di ba? They have to solve the problem of creating these microchips. They want walang deforestation, di ba? They're going sustainable. Plus, it's something that is solving a pain point, and it's using his unique skill set. He is a scientist who became a CEO. Who else can do that one? Sustainable, long-term, simple. We don't have to be all scientists, but the idea is that sometimes the simplest but most brilliant ideas come when you're saying, let's solve a problem, and what is my own unique resource or skill set that I can contribute to make it better. So for me, that's what's important.
That's a great point.
Yeah, you start off as an entrepreneur, but after that one, you keep on innovating, iterating. What can you do differently that not anybody else can do? Just like Cesar Peping, I'm sure, Giga at the start, gaya-gaya muna sila, but eventually, they start to develop the product in a specific way that nobody else can copy anymore. That's why they are a leader right now. I'll give the floor to Sir Peping.
I
Totally,
have a question
yes.
for Mr. Pipping actually.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, tuloy natin muna yung ano mo, Mr. Pipping, kung ano yung whatever it was that you wanted to.
No, I just
talk
wanted
about.
to say that through tama si RJ. RJ is correct and hits the nail on the head. No? There's really value in value added. No? So when you're coming up with a product or something in a service, there has to be value added for people to come to you. Hindi pwedeng gaya-gaya lang. Oh, anyway, that's just why. And then, what was your question?
What was the help? Given that you in that particular situation, and now you were hit by the pandemic as well, just like all of the other SMEs. What was the help that you needed? That you feel that we have two big brothers here. That maybe there is something more that we can give, no? What others that they can give, or they can actually put in their services, or maybe other companies can actually, who are listening, can actually give to our small brothers like you and me and RJ and all of the other small, medium enterprises that are listening right now.
If I were to speak for many of the SMEs, I think one of the main things that they need is a marketplace. So, tama si Baste. No? Baste I've known Baste since Kalayaan. I don't know if you remember Baste. No?
Kalayaan UP?
Yeah, UP Kalayaan.
Yeah.
We were together in UP Kalayaan.
Oh.
So,
All right.
I agree with when he said that it has to be, business is about two things: a product and a market. You may have a good product, but if you can't sell it, it's nothing. No? So one of the things that the SMEs need really is a marketplace. So the big brother here would be, the malls or the online platforms. These are the people who can help. The payment solutions, the logistics providers. These could be big companies or big enterprises that could be able to help the SMEs, and I know they are doing their part, no. But I just wanted to say that they can do a lot more, no, in helping SMEs reach their markets. No? So, and another thing is also, of course, finance. No, a lot of when you do a survey of the problems of many SMEs, and one of them would be. One of the major things that they would mention is financing. They need money to finance their operations, and an innovative financing program would help SMEs, and especially kung galing kay Baste na grant, that would be enormously helpful.
Yes, try Livewire.
Join Livewire.
Join Livewire.
I'll think about that.
Ganda ng Livewire acceleration program na ginawa nila para sa mga SMEs. I was hosting for them. I saw the people coming out of it. Ang ganda ng program nila. People were raving about coming out, learning so much from them. So it's a good program to be part of.
Yeah.
Ignite Livewire, no?
Ignite Livewire. Galing.
That should be Livewire in the next advances.
Another thing I'd like to say, when you're talking of financing, big brother companies can also help by venture capitalism. There are a lot of beautiful projects out there, but they cannot take it off the ground. They don't have capital. They don't have collateral to put up. So maybe venture capitalism could be a good concept also for financing companies.
I agree.
Beautiful.
I agree.
Beautiful. We don't have that. There's so much more that we can discuss, but we don't have time. But what I'd like to do now is give you like a minute or so that you could have you could give us your last thoughts and maybe a key takeaway, maybe something that you would like to impart also with our audience, yung mga gusto ninyo ipaalala sa kanila at kung ano man ang learning ninyo kung meron man in this session today. So I'd like to start off with JP. Sige.
All right. Learning for today, perfect scenario. You have RG to tell you how to be an entrepreneur. You have Baste to provide you that access to knowledge, access to funds, for grants and everything, no? We have Sir Peping, who can be your inspiration and the source of the innovative inspiration, right? And I'm here to provide you that marketplace that Sir Peping is looking for. Just to share with everyone, I know I cannot yet fully disclose this, but we signed an agreement with 5 different countries to bring our platforms available to all those 5 countries. And that's going to be a marketplace, a global marketplace, purely for micro, small enterprises. Whether you're a formal enterprise or not. It will be announced this December 7 to 11 in the Singapore FinTech Festival. Kaya abangan na lang po doon. Pag
abangan natin yan.
Congratulations, congratulations, Global Linker, ha?
Thank you.
Galing. Okay.
Sama kami dyan, ha? Mercato Marketplace.
I will invite Giga and Shell also.
Okay.
Sama ko rin yung negosyo ko dyan. Media. Okay, so why don't we hear from Sir Peping? Sir Peping, please.
Yes. This pandemic has brought a lot of anxieties in people. And there's a question being asked is there hope? Is there hope in the future? I guess there is, no? No, I don't guess. I know there's hope. And where is that hope anchored on? I would anchor our hope on the name of our host, faith. Faith on what? 2 things, no? One is faith in God. When this pandemic hit, I have never been closer to God than ever before.
Yeah.
This has been my source of strength in times of when I'm anxious. No?
Yeah.
And I really draw on His promises in Jeremiah 29:11. No? I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, and to give you hope. And that's where one of the faiths that I put myself in, faith in God. As you all know, our company is GIGA, God is good always. And also the second faith that I would like to put my faith on is in the resilience of the Filipino entrepreneurial spirit. There's really something about it. And I guess this will pull this country or many of the businesses out of the things that they are experiencing right now due to the pandemic. So, in closing, I'd like to say, be safe, everyone. This too shall pass.
Indeed, this too shall pass. And faith in the Filipino resilience, as well as faith in God. Oh, I totally agree with you. 100%, maybe even 200%. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Peping. RJ, what about you? We've learned so much from your entrepreneurial outlook.
Una, maraming salamat, Sir Peping. God is good all the time, always. Diba, Sir Baste and Sir JP? I'm very happy that ako rin, lumapit ako sa Diyos talagang sa panahon na ito, diba? I mean, my prayer life has become more powerful. Naalala ko lang, gusto ko lang ikwento sa inyo. Nung nagsimula yung pandemyang ito, yung misis ko kasi may ubo ako. Syempre, hindi mo alam nung start ng pandemic. COVID lang yan o allergy, diba? Pinatulog ako sa hotel. Pinalabas ko na ako sa bahay. At naalala ko yan kasi nung pinalabas ako sa bahay, mag-isa ako dyan sa kwarto, nanonood ng misa, di ba? I was watching kasi first online mass. At umiiyak ako kasi sabi ko, God, you have got something better planned for all of us because you are good all the time. At nakita ko yan kasi yung nakita ko sa negosyo namin is this one, that sometimes God puts you through this crisis. Just like put Job through a crisis, di ba? Whether something good, something bad, doesn't matter. God is good all the time, di ba? At nakita ko, that sometimes what's the lesson God taught me? Yung tinuro sa akin sometimes, RJ, your first business might not be your best business. I have something better planned for you. But you have to put in the hard work. Na-realize ko, during this time, I got this from one of my entrepreneur mentors. Sabi niya, RJ, you have to try to put up a business even during this crisis. I-try mo ipatakbo yung negosyo mo habang kahit may crisis. Bakit? Because you will have to fail. But every time that you fail, you are conditioning yourself, you are preparing yourself for the new normal, for the better normal. So sa lahat ng mga entrepreneur na dyan ngayon, baka na-analysis paralysis kayo. You don't start a business right now because natatakot kayong isimula yung negosyo na yan. But you have to do it. But remember, you might fail, but that's perfectly fine. Failure is your investment in learning. Nako, to everybody in this panel, ang dami naming failure. from March, nagsara kami. I had to open up a community market. I tried opening up my market again. I tried going online. They weren't all working. But if I didn't do these things, I wouldn't have learned to come up with our successful outdoor socially distant market right now. I wouldn't have been able to bring my vendors to Lazada, Reselli, Kumu, Ayala Zing Marketplace if I didn't make these mistakes along the way. So again, as an entrepreneur, if you fail, it's an investment in learning. And you must know how to pivot. Your first business might not be your best business. The best business is still there in
about to
store
come.
for you. Yan lang.
Right.
The path is prologue. The best business model is still to come.
Right. And no, we should not be too attached to whatever it is that we are establishing right now. Diba? Kasi sometimes we're very emotional. It becomes our baby. Na no, I don't want to let go of it because it's my baby. But then you have a bigger baby coming, so it's okay.
Don't be attached to the. I tell people, for me also, don't be attached to the business. But don't fall in love with the business. Fall in love with the process of learning about doing business.
Right.
Because that's what you take home with you: the soft skill, the hard skills, and then you just reuse it for something else. That's really it. That's how I see things.
Exactly. Thank you so much, RJ. And of course, the last but not the least, Mr. Baste, who has been helping so many of people in the countryside. Sir, your thoughts, please.
Well, again, thank you so much. And wow, it was a very great panel. I thank you. We've learned a lot also. No? But I would like to address our beneficiaries because again, it's the beneficiaries that are the least of our brothers that we really need to help. And Filipino Shell Foundation is here to assist in the self-sufficiency and also in resilience. So don't worry, we're around. Sama-samang pagtulong, sabay-sabay na pagsulong. Maraming salamat.
Yes, I love it. Sabay-sabay na pagsulong. Yan, siguro ang key takeaway natin ngayon. Maliit, malaki, sabay-sabay tayong susulong dahil doon. And you know what I love about this panel is that even if you're all very right-brained, you're all negosyante, you still believe that God is really in control. Yeah. And I totally love that. I totally love that about this panel. So ladies and gentlemen, I think that we can all agree that 2020 has been a dim start for this new decade. However, silver linings always shine through in times of grievances. And the Bayanihan spirit lives on and touches the heart of every Filipino. Whenever we find someone in a tight situation, we help them, regardless of what our status or predicaments are. The spirit of resiliency is so strong that it causes us to shed some fortitude on our fellow Filipinos as well. In the end, for sure, itaga nyo sa bato, the Bayanihan spirit will shine through. Thank you so much for joining us in this program. And thank you once again to our panelists, RJ, Piping, Baste, and JP. And of course, to our sponsors, Shell Philippines and Villar Sipag Foundation. This has been your host, Faith Abanyo, reminding everyone, never ever hesitate to help. God bless you all. And of course, we would like to turn just over now to our resident DJ Cheska. I hope that you were listening, and I hope that you were also able to pick up so many things from our panelists, because I did. My goodness, it was really, really a good place. Cheska?
Yes, of course, ma'am. Nako, very energized and very inspired ako. At nako, ang galing mag-moderate ni Miss Faith, no? Parang mawawalan ako ng trabaho. But ma'am, siguro I ask again to Miss Faith to join me on the screen. Ma'am, bago ka namin completely i-let go, alam namin marami ka pang asikasuhin and you will also watch the rest of the video. Ma'am, wait lang ha.
Yes.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Alright, happy birthday, Ma'am Faith. Nako, may insider kasi ako from the team of Happy.
Maraming salamat.
Yes. Is today your birthday, as in today, ma'am?
The other day. It was the other day.
Happy
But it has
birthday.
been a week celebration. Friends have been greeting and, salamat. Maraming salamat, Afi. Maraming salamat, Philippine Star. We thank you for this opportunity, really, because it's really important that we all come together. Maraming salamat.
And thank you so much for spending your birthday week with us as culmination, as opening lang pala, no? Pero thank you for spending your time with us, ma'am.
Thank you for having us.